Check, check, 1 2 1 2. Yo, 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 yo. This is Travell C.W. Lynch, Mr. What? This is the I Am the Possible podcast experience, the live experience, streaming live here on YouTube as I'm recording this episode. Today, we're going to be talking about why your prayers are not working. Why your prayers are not working. Guys, if this is your first time joining the I Am the Possible podcast experience and universe, welcome to this space. Welcome to this place. This is the place. This is the space where possibilities become perspective. Guys, I'm on a mission to close this gap between our religion and our reality, the things that we're praying for and the things that we're actually seeing, the things that we're desiring and the things that we're actually living and seeing show up in our everyday lives. And so today, for many of us, men and women of faith, specifically even Christians, right? We're praying to God. We're desiring some sort of change, some sort of upgrade in life, some sort of transformation in life. But it seems like no matter how hard we pray, no matter how we pray, it just seems like our prayers are not being answered. It's like God's not coming through. Life isn't changing. It doesn't look any different than it looked maybe a year ago. And maybe that's you. Maybe you're stuck in that space, in that place where you're like, yo, man, why am my prayers not working? Does God not hear me? Does he not care? Am I not doing it the right way? There's so many things, right? So many conflictive ideas, perspectives, so many conflicting voices that are happening within us. It can get really frustrating, confusing, and it can begin to really drain and deplete your joy, your hope in life. And so today, I want to share with you something that, again, we're not always aware of, and we're not teaching and preaching very often within our churches and our faith-based communities and organizations and institutions. And that's dealing with what it is that's happening within us, not within our relationship with God necessarily, or within our relationship with other people, but what's happening within us. And so one thing that I want to really start to push, and I'm about to share my screen now, and I really want to start walking us through this entire framework, right? I call it my signature framework, and we're going to use this signature framework today, this Cx3 framework, to begin to unpack why it is that we can pray, hope, wish, read the Bible, do all the good things, go to church faithfully, pay our tithes, offerings, do all the things. But it just seems like there's no forward progress. All right. Many times there are things that are happening within us that we are not aware of that is causing us to self-sabotage. We're one step forward, two steps back. Things kind of start to change and then we resort right back. And we just don't know why it is that we keep cycling back. We either stay completely stuck or we make a little bit of progress and we shrink back and things are right back to where they were, or even worse sometimes. All right. So if that's you, buckle up. Here we go. Let's jump right into it, man. I want to begin to provide solutions. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen on the screen. Cool. Let me do this real quick. Let me go over here to my screen and I want to change something up real quick. All right. Let me close that. All right. Here we go, yo. All right. Let me share it. Check it out. Boom. Here we go. Yep, the good old self-concept. Yes, here we go again, ladies and gentlemen. The good old self-concept. So the self-concept is at the center of your prayers, okay? The self-concept is at the center of your prayers. And if you are not aware of your self-concept, if you are not aware of what it is doing and how it is influencing and impacting your prayer life and the results that you're getting through prayer, then this may be the underlying issue. This may be like cutting you, I forgot the terminology, right? But it's like cutting your feet, from under you. It's like this might be the very reason that you continue to pray but not see the results that you want. All right. But the good news is it can be fixed, it can be addressed. So let me break this down. All right. Right up at the top, why the self concept is so critical. Let me give you the progression, and then we're going to break it down, and then we're going to relate it to your prayer life. We're going to relate it to your religion. We're going to relate it to your life in and with God. Okay. So number one, the concept. It's called the self concept. And I made it super easy to understand. It's what we see in ourselves, right? These are the ways that I help people to really understand it and to remember it. We want to simplify things. I can go super deep, but why, right? We don't want to make things more complex. We want to make things easier to understand. All right. So the concept, what we see in ourselves, this then supports or leads to the conversation, what we say to ourselves. All right. That then shapes, and this is the important part, that then shapes or leads to the capacity, what we sustain for ourselves. And then lastly, that then moves into or helps to sustain the change, right? The results that we're actually experiencing. See, for many of us, there is this huge disconnect. I'm praying for this, I desire this, and this is what I'm actually experiencing. I read the Bible, but this is what I actually see show up in my life. I'm going to church, I'm hearing that word preached, but this is what I'm actually seeing in my life. There is a huge disconnect between Sunday morning and Monday through Saturday, right? You're on this, you're on this motivational, inspirational roller coaster, man. Sunday morning, you're on 10. Monday morning, you're on like a 6. By Thursday, you're on like a 2. It is so time out for that because it can be fixed. It can be changed with an awareness of the self concept, with the awareness of what's happening within you. See, the concept, right? How that's developed. It is developed through experiences and environments. And many times for us, like it was for me, you guys have heard my story, sexually abused, emotionally abused, physically abused, all throughout my childhood, right? Had all those things happen to me all throughout my childhood. I've had people do horrible things to me, say horrible things to me, made me feel some type of way at a very young age. The problem with that is that when things happen to us in those early years, those childhood years, those formative years, we don't have the language, the cognitive capacity to discern those things, to understand those things, and to properly process those things. So because we lack that skill at that age, what happens? We adopt it. We call it truth. And who we really are, the true self, right? The God image, God given, God breathed, like, God likeness, God image self, that begins to be corrupted and distorted because we are trained through our trauma to see ourselves based upon the feelings that we're experiencing at an age and stage that we can't properly process that stuff, right? That's why many children fall victim to sexual abuse or, different things that adults or older people do to us because we're susceptible to those things because we don't know how to navigate those things, right? And so the trauma trains us to feel some type of way about ourselves and to see ourselves or to form a concept of ourselves, to literally construct a concept of ourselves that's less than the image that God desired for us, right? And so that's where it all starts. That's the concept. Now, through that concept, we then have a conversation with ourselves, that internal dialogue, the self-talk. Those conversations, what do you think? they're going to be based upon a concept that's distorted and corrupted. Well, if I have a distorted and a corrupted concept of myself, then the conversations that I'm going to have with myself are going to be distorted and corrupted. I'm going to say things to myself based upon the way I see myself. So if I see myself as not worthy of love, not accepted, not fitting in, those things that I felt very isolated. I felt very alone as a child. I felt like people wanted to abuse me. People wanted to get over on me. And so I learned not to trust people. I learned that people were out to get me. I learned to be very cautious of people, right? That fight or flight, right? Always on the edge. And so because of that concept, then that inner dialogue is always telling me something. I'm always saying something to myself that aligns with that concept, right? The concept determines or dictates the conversation. Now, the conversation that you have with yourself, that's going to tell you one of two things: what you can do and what you can't do, what you're allowed to do, what you're not allowed to do, what you have permission to do, what you don't have permission to do. That's the problem. That conversation that you're having with yourself, even when you pray, even when you go to God with your problems, even when you read the Bible, even when you do all of these different things, if you're not taking the things that you're reading in the Bible, if you're not taking your relationship with God, if you're not taking the relationship that you have with other believers and converting them or using them in such a way that is helping to improve your concept, then your conversation is going to be subject to your concept. And then those conversations is going to always tell you, well, I want to have a better life, but I'm not worthy of one. I want to do better, but I'm not capable, right? It's these conclusions that we come to. It's the stories that we tell ourselves based upon the experiences, based upon the environments that we've been exposed to. So then that leads to whatever capacity we're able to sustain, right? The capacity, that's the space, that's the internal space, the internal wherewithal, the internal resilience that we are able to develop within ourselves. So when you think about capacity, and this is why it's so important when it comes to change, anytime you have a change in your life, that change comes with new responsibility and capacity, right? What that means is it's your ability to stay emotionally regulated while navigating effectively and efficiently all of the issues that are happening in life. The drama on your job, the drama in your home, with your kids, with your spouse, with your coworkers at work, with them folks at church, with other leaders that are within your community, relationships that you have with your best friend or your acquaintances. See, this is the issue. Many of us don't have the capacity for the change that we're praying for. We're praying for change. Oh God, give me a new car. Oh God, give me a new house. Oh God, help me to get out of debt. Oh God, help me to do this. Oh God, help me to be this. Help me to become this kind of person. We have the right desire. We're praying the right prayers, but the concept is being is undermining the effort of prayer. So we're saying the words, we're in our posture, but the concept has not been updated, is not aligned. So therefore, the capacity that you have is very small. In other words, think of it like this. Think of it like, and this is a widespread, example. Think of it like this. You know the guy or the girl, either one, who hits the lottery. Now they've had a poverty mindset, a lack mindset, a oh woe is me mindset. But they were playing the lottery, right? This ain't really got nothing to even do with prayer. But they were playing the lottery and they win $50 million, right? Let's say it's 2026, right? They win $50 million. And somehow 2 years later, they're broke, right? The news does a story on them. Oh, they won the Powerball or whatever it is, and they got $50 million. And then 2 years later, they do another story on these people, and they say, oh my God, in 2 years, they're right back where they started. Why is that? Why is that? That's because the conditions changed temporarily, but the concept didn't change. And you can see this on the graphic here. It's when our conditions change temporarily and our concepts don't change with them, then we're going to self-sabotage. We're going to bring ourselves back to where we were because that's what's familiar. That's who we believe we really are. If I see myself as a poor, struggling individual and I come into an abundance of finances instantly, my conditions outwardly have changed, but my inward conditions, which is my concept and my conversations and my capacity, because they haven't changed, they don't align with my outward conditions. And when your inward concept, conversation, and capacity does not align with the outward condition, then your inward condition, which is your concept, conversation, and capacity, it's going to self-align. It's going to self-adjust. It's going to make sure that you go back to what you know, what you believe, what you're familiar with. And the problem, man, for so many of us is that we're familiar with the struggle. We are familiar with hard times. We are familiar with getting it out the mud. We are familiar with being less than and feeling less than. Is some of this hitting home? Does some of this make sense? Right? Is this hitting home for you? It's like, yeah, man, I've been really wanting this new thing. I've been really wanting to do this new thing. I've been really wanting to launch out on this thing. I've been really wanting to try this new thing, but something just keeps getting in my way. Even though I've been praying my butt off, even though I've been reading my scriptures, even though I've been going to church, even though I've been doing everything that I know I'm supposed to do as a Christian, as a person of faith, it just doesn't seem to change. My reality just doesn't seem to be changing. This, I believe, is at the center of that. I've seen it happen in my own life. This graphic that you're looking at, this is a reflection. This graphic was created by AI based upon me telling my story and how I went from where I was to where I am. This was the progression. That's why I call it my signature framework. This is what I teach out of. This is what I coach out of. Getting deep into the crevices, getting deep into the understanding of each of these stages and how they link together will help you to begin to see what you're praying for. Because this will undermine your prayer. This will prevent your prayer. Even take it as far as saying God answered your prayer, right? Let's just give a real simple example. God, I need a new car. He said yes. Boom, new car in your driveway. If that concept ain't updated, you're gonna lose that new car. If it ain't up, if your concept doesn't say I'm worthy of that new car, if your concept doesn't say it's okay, it's normal for me to have this car, your conscience will start to get in, will start to tell you, hey, maybe this is too expensive. Hey, what are the saints are going to think? Oh, this is too nice of a car. They're going to feel some type of, like, all of that inner junk that's stemming from a poor self-concept. All of that inner dialogue that just keeps you just feeling like crap, feeling guilty, feeling shame, don't want to show people, anything, don't want to tell nobody nothing. All of that is stemming from the concept. That's why it's like, why are my prayers not working? Because your concept isn't working. It's not aligned with what you're praying for. You can see it on the screen. If the concept doesn't change, the change won't last. God could have, and even though I don't necessarily see it that way, like excuse me, like the way I see my relationship with God, I don't even really see it like a, oh God, give me blank. Where I'm at right now in my faith, just to let you know, I'm more about expanding my awareness of what already is, right? If you guys have been following me for a long time, you know, I've called myself several times an advocate for the already. It already is. It already exists. The cross already happened. Jesus already happened. So we're living in the already. We're living in the done. We're living in the, some may use the phrase, the finished works of Christ. It's done. When he said it's finished, it was finished. So now we're living in the already. So what's necessary for the already? Awareness of what already is. It's not that you actually need a new car, right? It's that the new car is available, and the path to getting the new car, it's available, and the wisdom and the insight and the creativity, it's available, and there is an abundance of everything that you need to make that thing happen. It's already available. You're just not aware of it. So I pray now more for an expansion of my awareness, right? And the thanksgiving, the gratitude of everything that comes with God. And maybe someone just needs to hear this, right? This is kind of freestyling right now. Like everything that God is with God here, right? Everything that God is with God. So wherever God is, if God is in us, if God is with us, if God is for us, if we are wrapped up in God, then every resource that God has and is present state, instant and consistent. It doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't dissolve. So even at the point of prayer, the reason that we can say, I believe it and I receive it, is because you're realizing or you're agreeing with the fact that it already is. Like it literally already is. It's just a matter of awareness and a matter of partnering in such a way with God so that you continue to expand, you continue to grow, you continue to elevate, you continue. This thing about life, like a lot of it is just you. It's your journey, it's your path, and you coming to the fullness, the potential, the possibility that God's grace, mercy, vision has assigned your life. So a lot of this is just you evolving, you expanding, you unfolding. And sometimes that gets in the way of our prayers because we think it's a thing hunt. We're hunting for things. Now I'm kind of off topic, but again, maybe someone needs to hear this. Sometimes we're on this item hunt. You're the item. Your growth, your development, your potential is the item. You go outside. I've got these trees in my front yard. That tree, all it does is grow. It grows to its highest potential, reaching to the sky. And by it doing nothing else, by reaching to the sky, reaching its highest potential, you know what it's also doing? It's creating oxygen just by being. It's creating homes for birds and squirrels and all kinds of insects by just being. We can chop it down and make wood and do things for our homes by it just being. It creates a beautiful landscape by just being. It creates shade for me to walk out there when I do my little midday walks and I go outside and I take my socks and my shoes off and I just kind of reconnect with the world, man, reconnect with the earth, right? And I just get out there and I kind of walk through the grass and just kind of ground myself, right? And just kind of tap back in, you know what I'm saying? And I'm standing in the shade. Yeah, by just being. So all of that I just named, and it's probably 10 or 20 more different things that a tree does, by just being itself. Maybe we can take a lesson from the tree. Maybe we can take a lesson and get our minds off of always chasing items and understanding that God's joy is in seeing the item grow to our greatest potential. By stop worrying and stressing and caring so much about things as we do one another, and seeing ourselves as a contribution one to another. Waking up each day saying, how can I contribute to the betterment of my brother, of my sister, of my society, of my culture, of my neighborhood, of my community, right? Of my network. Just a thought. So let me go ahead and stop sharing here. I want to, hopefully you got this, okay? Right up at the bottom, I don't know if you guys can see this here, but it says you can pray for change, but lasting change requires what? A new concept and a new conversation and some new capacity. And I don't know if, so let me go back. I don't know if I got on a rant and I forgot to mention the connection between the capacity and the change. Any change you want, comes with responsibility. You want a new house? That comes with more square footage to clean, taxes, landscaping, right, etc. Just as an example. Oh God, I want a new house. You don't just get the new house, you get the new responsibilities. With the new responsibilities come the new stresses, not a negative stress, but a stress. Stress is not negative or positive, it just is. But in this context, the stress comes from something that will pull from you or wear on you. So the fact that you got to do the landscaping, you got to do any repairs around the house, you got to pay the taxes every year, you got to keep up with the mortgage, those are stressors. If you don't have the capacity to stay emotionally regulated while taking on those additional responsibilities, you crash and you burn. You start dealing with burnout, overwhelm, chronic stress, anxiety. Those are the things that a lot of us are dealing with because we're taking on a new condition house without increasing capacity to take on the responsibility that comes with the house. I know that makes sense. So what do? We crash and burn because we haven't built the capacity. How come we don't have the capacity? Right here, because we haven't had the right conversations with ourselves. How come we don't have the right conversation with ourselves? Right here, because we haven't had the right concept of ourselves. See how it all connects? See why this is so vital? See why this is so critical? See why your prayers might not be working? Because in your heart of hearts, your subconscious, at the center of who you are, that part of you that you might not be so conscious of, that's the real. And that real part of you is saying, I can't handle this. Like, dude, it's almost like an inner conversation. It's like you saying to yourself, like, dude, you praying for this new house, but dude, you can't handle no new house. Like, that's the inner dialogue. Like, yeah, I hear what you asking God for, but have you checked your concept lately? You don't really believe you can handle that. You don't really believe that's who you are. You don't really see yourself as a homeowner. You don't really see yourself as a person making more than enough to be able to afford that sucker and have a decent quality of life. That ain't who you think you are. See, that's the voice that's within you that requires stillness and meditation. That's the voice that's within you that you're not aware of, that requires for you to sit in silence and be able to tap in with yourself and be able to identify, man, what's really happening within me. This is why I'm going so hard on this framework, because I know it'll change your life. You understand this concept, you get a real hold of this framework, it'll change your whole life, man. It'll change your whole life. I believe in this thing so much. I believe in this thing so much, man, because I've seen it take my life from what I'm calling the probable to the possible. The transformation from what is probable. It was probable I was going to go to jail. It was probable I was going to get shot and killed. It was probable I was going to, be on drugs and alcohol. It was probable that I was going to join a gang. Like, all of where my life was headed, that was the probability coming from where I came from, coming up the way I came. And then something changed in 2001. Eric Brown looked me in the eye and he said, Travell, you are a teacher. That was my first introduction to a new concept. I'm a teacher? What does that mean? I began to look for it, look it up, take spiritual gifts tests, understand it. God gave me a gift. I'm a teacher. I'm an educator. Wow. Okay. I am something of value, of worth. I am something that the world needs. And it began a 25-year journey. It all began with the concept, a tweak in my concept got me to where I am today. All right. So, guys, it's so important that you understand that your concept is at work in the background of your mind. And it's not that the prayers necessarily aren't being answered or that God's against you, anything like that, but it's like you're self-sabotaging yourself. It's like you're just saying, no, 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 no. That inner mechanism within all of us to be in congruency, to be in alignment with who we truly believe we are, that's at work. We have to pay attention to this. This is the stuff that we don't preach about. This is the stuff we don't teach about in church. This is the stuff we don't want to talk about. We want to over spiritualize everything. We want to make everything about Jesus doing it and coming through. And I get all of that. Please don't hear that I'm some like Christian anti-Christian, right? Or some Christian with a problem with Christianity. That ain't what I'm saying. I'm saying that there's more. There's more to understand. The way I look at it is add some psychology with that theology, because a complete theology is the study not only of God, but the study of everything that God has done, which includes giving you a brain and a nervous system, and understanding your brain and your nervous system, I believe, is a critical part of our theology, a full theology, where we ain't just spirit, but we also have to deal with our body, and we also have to deal with our brain, and we also have to deal with our nervous system, because those things matter as well. Those things are created by God as well, right? All right. So that's it for that, man. So I want to go ahead and stop sharing, and I want to go back. Let's see here. Make sure I'm going back to Cali. No, I'm in Cali. I'm not going back to Cali. I'm in Cali. All right. So I want to ask y'all some questions, man. So now that you understand this, now that you got it, what do we do, right? How do we begin to improve that self-concept? Well, I got some questions for you on my other screen. I'm not going to show my screen here. I'm just going to ask you some questions, because whether you know it or not, you are a meaning maker. You are a meaning maker. Remember, I was talking about earlier the fact that you have these experiences and these environments that have taught you to feel some type of way about yourself. When you felt some type of way about yourself, you wrote a story. You gave it a meaning. You assigned the experience and the environment a meaning, and that meaning attached to the concept that you have of yourself. And so now the question is, what do I do once I'm aware that the concept I have of myself isn't working for me? So glad you asked. I've got some questions that I want you to take down. All right. And I'm going to put them in the show notes as well when I'm all done. The first question is, and this is you going back and you doing like an audit, right? Of just what's happened to you in life that led, right? Like, you know your story. You know who abused you. You know who said some crazy things to you. You know those moments where you can look back and was like, okay, that really hurt. That really sucked. That made me feel some type of way. You know those moments, right? So I want you to start to go back to those moments, and I want you to untruth them, right? Because we learn through trauma to not like ourselves. Well, now you're going to unlearn the lies, and you're going to learn the truth about yourself, right? So you're going to untruth the lie. You're going to untruth that story, because that ain't true. You're going to unlearn that story, and you're going to learn something new. You're going to write a new story, a new narrative. You're going to give it a new meaning. All right. So here we go. Number one, what happened? Literally break out a pen and pad. What happened? What happened? And for as many times where you were hurt or whatever it was, write them down. What happened, man? I know for me, I can list, like, just to use one example, sexually abused. I can remember, okay, one, when I was too young to even remember what my age was. One, okay, that was with a family member at a house, okay, in the tub. I remember that, okay. Second one, family member. I was a little older at somebody's house. I remember that, okay. Third, total stranger. I was in a basement. Okay, I remember that. Fourth, again, well, this was an associate, just someone that I knew, wasn't a total stranger, but wasn't a family member, but just someone I knew. Okay, remember that. That's four. I haven't even gotten to the other stuff. Just 4 times I was sexually abused. You know what that did to me? You know what that made me think about myself and feel about myself? And some of you can relate because you've been sexually abused as well. You know how it felt. You know what it made you think and feel about yourself, right? So list it down. What happened? Now the next question. Now that you got all of your list, what did I start to believe? What was the meaning that I assigned that event? And what did I say to myself? Because when the events happen, they don't just happen. You label the event. That was a horrible moment. Got it. But you also conclude something about yourself. What did you say about yourself? I'm not worthy of love. I know my story was I'm a rag doll. I'm everyone's punching bag because I used to get bullied a lot. Right? So what did you label? What did you label the event? What did you label yourself? Write it out. This will be painful. This will be some deep stuff. What I would like you to do is, if this is really on that level, seek professional help. I am not a licensed therapist. I'm a life coach and I can coach you. Okay. But I'm not a licensed therapist. Some of this stuff is deep and it gets heavy. All right. So let me just say that as well, man. I totally respect the depth of this and the severity of this. But I think it's still my duty to bring awareness to it. I don't have all the answers. I cannot instruct you, clinically. I can't give you that kind of advice, but there are good professionals in the world who can. Okay. And so please seek out professional help. If you need to, reach out to me, right? Travail at IamThePossible.com. Travail at IamThePossible.com. I'll have all the links down below. You can reach out to me directly and I can share some resources with you. Okay. I've got a therapist as well. All right. Every coach needs a coach. Okay. So you got that down? Okay. So now what happened? What did it mean to you at that time? And what did you say to yourself? Now, this is question number 3. How has that meaning, that belief shown up in your life? How has it shaped you? How has it sabotaged you? How has it prevented your progress? List these things out. Oh, this is how it shows up. Oh, I didn't really go for that because of this. Oh, I prayed for that, but I really wasn't believing for it because if I really got it, I wouldn't have been able to handle it because I start to connect the dots. Right? So that's number 3. How is it showing up in your life? How is it determining your behavior in life? This is important to understand. And then number 4, what is a more accurate meaning now that you're older? Now that you have more skill sets, now that you have a little experience under your belt, now you're looking back in hindsight. What way can I reshape this? How can I rewrite this story? What else could it mean? What else could it mean? For me, let me just give you some insight for me. The way I've been able to heal is those people that abuse me, I don't let them off the hook. They abused me. They did that. That happened. I'm not pretending like it didn't happen. I'm not woo-sa and it didn't happen and it was just a figment of my imagination. No. They did that. It hurt me. It sucked. It was wrong of them. However, or comma, right in the story. However, they were doing the best they could do with the awareness and the capacity that they had at the time. That's not getting them off the hook. That's not giving them an excuse. That's giving a meaning, and that's just one of. There's some more, but that's just one meaning, a baseline meaning that I give my abusers, because it's true. They were a product of abuse at some point, probably. More than likely, they were abused. More than likely, they were watching something, listening to something, having something said to them or done to them that caused them to then act in a way towards me that wasn't cool. They didn't just wake up in the morning and say, I feel like abusing Travell. No, they were going through their own trauma and drama. And it played out that I became one of their victims. But I am not a victim. But in that context, right, they did that to me. And then I take ownership. What else could it mean? It means I have an ability and I have an opportunity to take ownership and to use and leverage my story to further the advancement of society by doing the very thing that I'm doing right now. I'm sharing my story. Someone's being helped. Someone's being encouraged. Someone's being inspired. Someone's hearing this. Someone's identifying with this. Someone is feeling me. And healing is taking place even in this moment. And I'm going to speak all over this world. I've been speaking all over this world. I'm going to continue to speak all over this world. I'm going to share this message 1,000,000 times. I'm going to keep telling my story. I'm going to keep helping people to understand this. I'm going to keep helping people to connect the dots. This thing is going to continue to unfold and expand, and I'm going to help so many people with this message and with this framework. It's an opportunity. It's a story that God's allowed me to have, to steward. I'm now able to steward my story and let it not be the reason that I fail and I shrink back and I don't move forward, but it is the very reason I do advance, I do win, I do overcome, I am resilient, I do continue to serve and support the success of other people because of my story. Now, if you're someone who's looking at me saying, oh, you're just making up stuff, good. I am. We all are. We're story makers. We're meaning makers. It's us. We're the writers. We're the assigners. It's going to always be that way. It's always been that way. It's going to always be that way. You might as well write a story. You might as well assign a meaning that's going to work for you and not against you. All right. All right, guys. That was really it for today, man. I just really wanted to share that and just break that down, man. I know somebody needs this, man. I know somebody needs it because I needed it, man. If you're just now joining live, if you're just now joining and you haven't gotten the whole thing, man, when I shut it down, go back, man. Listen, watch the concepts, watch the slides, get the information that you need. But again, if you don't fix the concept, you can't fix the conversations. If you don't fix the conversations, you can't fix the capacity that you're operating with. And if you can't fix the capacity, then you're never going to allow yourself the change. You're never going to allow the change into your life. You're going to keep pushing it away. You're going to keep unknowingly rejecting it and finding a way to revert back to who you really think you are. And it's possible for you to change. It's possible for you to change. It's possible for you to improve the concept that you have of yourself so that you can change the conversations that you are having with yourself, so that you can improve the capacity that you sustain within yourself, so that you can finally see the change that you're praying for. Not easy, but it's worth it. I wouldn't tell you that it's easy, but I will tell you that it's worth it. You're worth it. Your life is worth it. All right. Again, I'm on live, so a lot of my links are not down below, but I always want to remind folks of a couple of things. Number one, I am a licensed self-worth specialist, but it's truly by certification a life coach. I am licensed in that area. And for those of you who desire someone to serve and support your success, going from the concept to the kinds of changes that you want to see in your life, someone that will show up for you, that will walk the journey with you, that is what I do. All right. So check me out, iamthepossible.com, or follow one of the links that I provide below. Let's get on the call. Let's see if I'm a good fit. You're a good fit for me, if we can work together. But I want you to know that that service is available. If you are a church, a leader in a church, or a nonprofit, faith-based organization, institution, and you like what I'm sharing, and you're like, yo, I got some folks that need to hear that. I got some folks that need to know that. I am also a professional keynote speaker and a trainer and a facilitator of these workshops, of these frameworks. So I would love to be able to show up and serve the support and support the success of your organization as well. So again, hit me up, iamthepossible.com. If you are someone out there who really just vibes with what I'm doing and you're like, yeah, man, I would really love to sow into that. I would really love to support that ministry. Again, I will have links down below in just a few moments where you can support the podcast, right? It takes money to run this podcast, and I would love your support financially. It's as little as, I think it's like the littlest amount is like $5 a month, or might even be like $1 a month. But if you want to just contribute, you want to sow into the work that I'm doing and just support the production of this podcast financially, I'll have a link down below for that as well. If you are listening audio, but you're not watching video and you want more of an experience, right? Then go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I am the Possible on YouTube. And as I always say, you should be watching on the tube because it just kind of brings the experience to life a little bit more. So I would love your subscription, your follow, your comments, and no matter what platform you're watching this on, I would love your feedback. I would love to hear what hit home, what made sense, what didn't make sense, what questions you have. There's also going to be a link down below for anyone who wants to not only leave a comment directly to this broadcast, but if you have a question that you have that you would like an answer to in the form of a bonus episode. All right. I've got a little bit of a backlog right now. I'm going to start to release those really soon. But if you have a question and you would like me to create a bonus episode just for you, it is a anonymous. That's the word. It's a anonymous submission. I do not get your name. I do not get your phone number. I do not get your address. Excuse me. I just get your question. Excuse me. And so there's a link that you can click the link, submit your question, and I would love to get your question and create an episode around what it is that you're wondering about. All right. I would love that interaction. So take advantage of it while you can, right? Take advantage of it while I'm at this level. All right. Because this thing is about to go to a different level and your boy ain't going to be as accessible. So get it in while you can, tap in while you can, man. But yeah, man, I'm going to always make a way somehow, some way, no matter what comes my way, to be able to connect as much as I possibly can with those that want to connect. So I think that's it. Love you guys, praying for you guys, believing in you guys. Until next time, this is Travell C.W. Lynch, Mr. What? This is the I Am the Possible podcast experience. Yes, the place where possibilities become perspective, and we start to close the gap between religion and reality. What you're praying for, hoping for, wishing for, and what you're actually experiencing in your life. Remember, relate better to yourself, create better for yourself and those around you. God bless you.
Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe, like, comment, and share. For more information, visit me at iamthepossible.com.